think, is our fourth school closure webinar. We are going to be talking about end of the year today. I can't believe this is coming up, but before we do, please remember when you're tweeting out, use hashtag PBCSD Virtual School Library. We are getting definitely a lot of traction that way. People are noticing, they are taking notice of our digital libraries. Keith Oswald is loving them. So keep up the good work. Please, when you tweet it out, use that hashtag. If you haven't already done this, please don't do it. Don't integrate teachingbooks.net into Mac and VIA. We get our access through the portal, and we don't want to train our teachers to be going to Mac and VIA for our teaching books, because once this crisis is over, the access will go away in Mac and VIA, and then they're going to be like, where's my teaching book? So train them to go through the portal, please. If you've already done it, you can deactivate it. Let us know if you need help doing it. We are happy to walk you through that. So let's talk about ending our virtual school year. So in case you hadn't noticed, this year's kind of different. So the end of the school year is going to look very different as well. So our end of the year to-dos are a lot less than they were previously. We are going to be sending you a library survey for your library program. Please complete it by May 8th. You shouldn't have any difficulty completing the survey. It's very similar to last year's with some added questions about what you did virtually. There are some questions about budget and what you spent. Please try and consult with your bookkeeper, but if you aren't able to get that information, we understand that too, and there is an answer for that. Just select that you cannot, that information isn't available to you. We are asking you that you close out any open inventories and finalize without setting your items to lost by May 8th. We'll go into more about why we're asking you to do this. We know that many of you have started and put a lot of work into those inventories. If you've already finished them, that's great. But we're asking you to, if they're still open, please finalize them without setting any items to lost. While you haven't been on campus, lots of people have been on campus, and we don't know what the state of our libraries are right now, and they may not be an accurate snapshot. Also, if you're not done with a lot of it, you risk setting a large portion of your collection to lost. And then we're asking you to create a plan for reopening your library and welcoming your students back to your physical library. So for locating your open inventories, you'll click on Admin, then Inventory, choose the inventory you want to close, and then click Finalize. This is going to finalize your inventory, but the default when you click Finalize is to mark all unaccounted for copies lost. Stop, take a deep breath, change the radio button to Ignore, and then click Yes. We do not want you to mark any of those books lost. So please, please, please make sure you don't set the books to lost when finalizing those inventories. We have postponed until fall 2020 the collection development plan and goals and objectives. We're doing this because we want you to have an accurate snapshot of all of your data. The running of the data is taking a lot longer virtually than it does in our office. We would have done everything over spring break. Our poor ladies are working on running that data on Chromebooks with a single screen. So as you can understand, that data is painstaking. And we don't really know what next year is going to look like. We don't know what it's going to look like budget-wise, what it's going to look like student-wise, and all of those things. So we're asking you to put off till fall of 2020 those things that you would normally be doing now. Amy, if you didn't do an inventory this year, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's just a weird year. You probably would have started it this month and gotten it done, but it's just a strange year. We are not downplaying the importance of the collection development plan and goals and objectives. These are part of school board policy. They are very important. It is super important for us to have these on record. School board policy says that a collection development plan for everyone is on file and available to the public. So we're just postponing them, not getting rid of them. And for those of you that haven't started your inventories, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it this year. If you have started it, finalize them and set those items to ignore. Just don't set anything to lost. And also postponed until January of 2021 is inventory. And we're doing this because we want to give the kids a good half the year to get those books back to you. We have a plan to help everyone get those books back, but we want to wait until January 2021 to start those inventory processes. So we're putting that on hold too. There are those people who love to jump on that inventory and do it right away in the fall, but please, please, please don't do it until January of 2021. Getting those books back, it's going to take a lot of teamwork. We are all going to have to work together. I know that's our strong suit as librarians, but it's worth putting out there that this is going to take a lot of teamwork. So with that being said, here's our plan for getting library books back. And all of this is, of course, subject to change based on recommendations from the higher ups. Amy, we are waiting on guidance from upper leadership on senior obligations. It's all going to be it's going to be kind of crazy. It's hard to really know what to do and how to handle that because so many of our seniors won't even come back into the schools. So when I have more information, I will share that out with you. Nolan doesn't have that information yet about senior obligations. So we are asking you to create a campaign to get those books back from your, well, for you, for your 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. Hopefully those seniors have a younger sibling who will bring them back, or they'll bring them back out of the goodness of their heart because they're generally good kids. We hope, we hope, we hope. But it's an unusual circumstances and we're gonna have to just let a lot of stuff go, but try and create a campaign to get those books back. We're saying before May 30th, run an overdue report for you guys for your 12th grade students so that you can capture that snapshot of those students and know what they owe and save it as a PDF. You're just saving it for future reference. We're hoping that we can possibly get permission to email that out to students, but as of right now, that's still on the do not do list. But at least you have that snapshot for future reference because after July 1, those students will migrate out of your destiny. They will be out of SIS. And there's nothing we can do to capture that snapshot. Amy, they are working on a plan. I just don't know what it is. It's a plan for getting the textbooks back. We're just not sure. And this is mostly seems to be an issue at the middle school and the high school levels. The elementary level, the textbooks are mostly consumable. But as we have more information, excuse me, on that plan to get those textbooks back, we will get that information out to you. The first week of school, we're going to ask you to run those overdue notices with a custom message for your entire school. Please be nice. I don't think that's a lot. When I'm talking to you guys, I know you guys are going to be nice, but we want everyone to be nice. You'll catch more flies with honey than you will with vinegar. And ask them for their books back. For the most part, they do really want to bring those books back to you. They're not trying to run away with our library books. This unusual circumstance creates unusual situations, and we're going to have to be flexible with it. When you run those overdue notices, check the box for patrons of other sites that have my materials. And then you're going to send those overdue notices to patrons from your other schools at their new school. And we know that some of your students will have left your school, gone to other schools. It's not that they are matriculating on so much, but that they could have moved, left their programs, and whatnot, but send those notices out. Please put a cover letter with them. The way to do that is to click on reports, library reports. On the second screen of setup, you're going to limit them, and you're going to click here where patrons of other sites that have my materials. You're going to collect those books for absolutely, Amy, maybe a mini candy bar exchange for a return book, a sweet treat, any of that. I've already seen a cute video created by Tempe Craven at Discovery Key. She made the most adorable video about getting the books back, and she was promising them prizes and parties and whatnot. It was great, and I will share that. She gave me permission to share that out, so I will share that out with everyone. She used Adobe Spark to create the video, and she used Snapchat scenes to create the slides for the video. It is so cute. Unbelievable. So creative, and such a great way to help those kids remember to bring their books back. So you're going to collect those books for 3 weeks. Then you're going to run the same report again, checking the patrons of other sites that have my materials. You're going to send overdue notices for patrons from other schools to their new school. And then you're going to accumulate books that need to be returned to your, in your case, it's not feeder schools, but to the other schools, and send one small box at a time via the pony. We don't want to send more than one box at a time because we do not want to overwhelm them. And we've asked Nolan and the guys from the warehouse are going to be busy, crazy busy in the fall. So they're not going to be able to be delivering or picking up these books that need to go from school to school. When you get an envelope from another school, please look that student up in Destiny using the patron status screen. If the item is on the screen, give them the notice. If not, throw it away and then celebrate that your kids did the right thing and returned that book. We're asking you to check all of those notices because, of course, there's a lag time between when we sending all of those things via pony, and it will take time, and it may cross paths in the process. So when you get a box of books, check them in right away, helping to free that child up from obligations and clear their screen and helping them out. And we're asking that you follow this procedure until the last day of school before winter break. And then we can stop running the reports every 3 weeks and sending them every 3 weeks, because by that time, if we haven't gotten the books back, we are likely not going to get them back, despite our best efforts. So to that, we're saying, please postpone sending any books to Lost until April 2021. Just leave them sitting on their screen, even if it's from the current year, okay? And don't transfer any library bills to SIS until further notice. That is coming from higher up. All I can say is we're in this together, and it's just gonna take a lot of teamwork to get all of these books back and to coax them and cajole them and be as nice to them as possible. I think they want to bring their books back. The good news is that they're not like traveling all around right now, and hopefully those books are somewhere safe. The cutest thing I saw was from Tony Litcher, who's telling her students to put their books in their sock drawer so that they stay in the same place and they always know where they are. I thought that was really kind of cute. So Allison, rather than sending notices to other schools, if everyone include materials owed to other schools when you get the notices. It is difficult. And I guess the high school level, this is harder than others. We just want everyone to get those notices back and or to get those books back. And I would ask you guys to send those notices, just because I know you guys are going to do the right thing and you're going to check that box. But if the other school isn't checking that box, then you may or may not get your materials back. And this is just a way to reach as many students as possible. That is really our plan for getting those books back. We now have a custom domain name for Library Current, so you can find us at librarycurrent.palmbeachschools.org. And please, as you create those sites, email us a link to your site, to your Google Classroom, to your video, to whatever it is that you're creating so we can feature it on this page. We really, really, really want to show off all the amazing things that you're doing, and you guys are unbelievable. I am so impressed by everything everyone's doing to keep those kids reading and involved, and that you're partnering with your teachers and teaching and doing it virtually and absolutely rocking that. And next week, we are just going to have like an open drop-in office hours instead of doing a formal webinar. So if you have questions or whatnot, you can just drop in and ask us. I'm going to bring that back. I didn't mean to stop sharing, but I had everything maximized. But I did want to share with you guys some of the new things that are on Library Current. Am I still sharing? Just making sure. Okay. So we've added, of course, there's the virtual library as an action page, and you can see it has grown. I still have more in my inbox to add. It's so great. We've added tutorials. If you are wanting to jump on the Bitmoji bandwagon, go ahead and use the, I created a tool list so you can see. I created my own little Bitmoji scene. They're super fun, easy to create. They will add a lot of personality to your libraries. And then I added, from the Palm Beach County Library, I added the Google Hangout. They sent me all of the links, and I put them into a PDF. I sent it out to you yesterday, but they're here, and you can just copy them and paste them and post them on your Google sites. That is really all I have for today, but I was going to ask you guys, just unmute your microphones, jump in, ask questions. I will answer them as I can. On the note of getting back into schools, I am hopeful that I will ask Nolan about that and see if you can get permission to go back in when your office staff and admin can go in. I will throw that out there because I know you guys need to get in and see your physical spaces and see what's going on. But I will ask for that. I said earlier on, the email is going out today looking for Battle of the Books question writers. Those lists were released today, and that email is set to go out at 12:30. So if you are interested, I know budgets will be tight and you want to get a set of those FTR books, please, please, please consider being a Battle of the Books question writers. Our order to Barnes and Noble for the question writer books will go in today. We should hopefully have them back in a couple of weeks so that we can distribute them to you. We will find some socially distanced way to distribute them, and it may just mean that I drop them off on your doorstep. So if you have questions, go ahead, unmute your mic and ask away.
What's going on with Project 8430 stuff?
Okay, so 8430. 8430 is in, except for the MacBook Airs. We are working on a plan to get those delivered. They are right now at the engraving site, but we are not allowed into McKesson to get that stuff. So it's going to have to, as soon as we are able to release it to you, we will release it to you. But the iPads and the Chromebooks and the desktops and the Dell laptops are all safely locked away in our Bat Cave in McKesson, and nobody can get to them. And we will get them to you as soon as we possibly can, as soon as it's safe to get in. Any other questions?
Any idea when we'll be able to place orders?
Yeah, they have not released that. We asked for a waiver to buy the FTR books, the SSYRA books in Mac and VIA, and we were told no. We did get the go-ahead to buy the question writer books and the thank you books for our question writers, but that was the best we could get. They don't want to cancel Bob, and I guess they realized that if they don't spend that money now, Bob will have to be canceled. So they've okayed that funds, but they have not okayed the funds for McAnvia yet. We are hopeful that when the new fiscal year starts on July 1, we'll have the money to go ahead and purchase those SSYRA books and FTR books then, and hopefully your budgets will be unfrozen then. They have not given us any indication that monies that were still in the budget will come back to, or roll back to you. We just don't know. Any other questions?
Lisa, when you're talking to the people up above, it's been a topic of discussion in my house. So, if school opens back up in August, which obviously we hope for, but
right.
we need to practice some sort of social distancing. I don't even know what that would look like on a school campus, but is there any discussion over how we would help maintain such a big space on campus?
They are they are discussing that.
Okay.
And they're not wanting to put any of us at any risk at all. And I think we'll only open up if it's safe to do so. Hi, Holly. Here you are.
You'll have to unmute me.
No, you're good.
Yeah. All right. You know, when you come in late, you get blocked. Your microphone gets blocked. You can't unmute it. Thanks.
Really? You're good.
Yeah, when it's a big meeting. Yeah.
Yep.
The last
So
person in.
Yep. So we've gone through the procedures. They've asked some really good questions. Have you heard anything from instructional materials about getting seniors textbooks back and senior obligations? That was a question I could not answer.
No, but that is a good one. They didn't discuss it this morning in our part of the meeting. They're still, right now, they're almost skipped to figuring out summer and graduations and that kind of thing. But let's pose that to Nolan when we finish this meeting, and because he'd be the person in the know about that. And yeah, that's a good point. Is it particularly the seniors everybody's pressed about, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm surprised they haven't thought about that, but we'll put that out to Nolan. I'll ask him. I'll text him and see.
There's thousands of dollars of textbooks out there.
Exactly. Right. And the kids are going to disappear to colleges. The ones that have, well, if they get to, bless their hearts, early enrollment. Yeah.
Right. And we're going to need to check them out in August to next year's, to the next students. And that's going to be a nightmare in August for us and our programs.
For all of them to come in and go out in the same. Absolutely.
And the seniors are asking, they want to take care of everything. So
yeah. All right.
At least on our end have been, we don't know yet, but now May 15th is graduation. So.
Oh, wow. Yours is early.
And you know what? They had the meeting I was involved in was the second half. They did managers first, and then they brought us in. And for all I know, he talked about it in that first 30 minutes. And then he's in the meeting that I'm in, it continues. And we haven't had a second to talk since I turned that off because I was hurrying to buy books for Bob. So, so let me ask him.
Okay. And the other question we were getting, it's a Nolan question, is will media specialists be given permission to go back in when office staff and admin can go in?
Yeah, they didn't talk about that either, but I'll ask him. Did somebody hear that office staff and admin has been cleared to go back to the buildings?
Not yet.
Okay.
But when they do, and we know you're anxious to get your Chromebooks back too. That's a high priority to get them back for your Trailblazers and for classroom instruction. So I'm glad, Elizabeth, I'm glad you're not stressed about them, that you have your own, because that will help you with your library instruction. I wanted to share, and I don't know if it will actually share with video and sound. Yes?
What I meant by that was I am stressed about mine that students had before the distribution. Like students already had, I have 20 Chromebooks that I check out that are grant funded. I don't know if I'm the only person that does this or not, but those Chromebooks they weren't bought by the school, and they were already out when we went out for COVID.
Oh.
So they're
Oh my
not
goodness.
they're not a part of the distribution that the school district did. I understand the school district distribution was like an emergency thing, and I just tried not to stress about that. But my like 20, I would really like those back. Am I allowed to pursue that?
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's a your admin question rather than, is that a school-based?
Right, and get them in SIS obligations somehow coded differently than the ones that the school gave out.
Right.
Okay.
And are you in contact with those kids?
I mean, some of them have checked in with me, some of them haven't. I've just tried not to, I'm trying not to put any pressure on them, because what am I going to do? They're not allowed on campus. But when I saw that you said we're not allowed to put anything in SIS, I thought, well, that's going to screw me over with my 20 Chromebooks, especially if any seniors have them.
Right. Well, that statement, what we were trying to avoid, Elizabeth, is schools, all levels of schools, as a knee-jerk going, okay, what isn't returned? What if students not returned yet this year?
Right.
Bill them and transfer it all to SIS. Would students haven't had an opportunity yet to return anything? That's what we were trying to avoid. And because you'd be surprised how people seem to be making it like, oh, we've always done it this way, so we'll do this. That's what we were trying to keep from happening, is that before they even have a chance to return stuff, billing them all in SIS.
No, I understand, and I agree.
That was where that statement came from, is all.
Yeah, no, I agree. But if my principal and I talk about the 20 that belong to the library that were already out before the distribution, and she agrees to allow us to put that in as an obligation, is that cool with you?
I mean, they're not our Chromebooks. They're your programs, your grants,
Right.
Chromebooks, and I would think that would be totally a decision for you and your principal, because it's a grant to your school.
Yeah, because those are just totally irreplaceable. There's no way I'll get the money for that again.
And the other thing too, in terms of the way you operate, the other problem that we have in general.
Oh no, we lost her.
Uh-oh.
Holly's been having crazy technical issues.
She's frozen in time.
She is frozen. She will not like the look on her face.
Goes back in the kids being asked for it again. It's
Holly, you were frozen.
How often it happens, but I know that won't happen with you because you understand how the system works.
You were frozen,
totally
so we don't know what you said.
Oh jeez. Oh well, must have been important. And am I still frozen, Lisa?
No,
you are not. You are good now.
I have the absolute worst internet connection ever since this whole thing started. Yep, I'm frozen again, aren't I?
Nope, no. You're good.
Okay, I can't tell. I have one little screen. I'm working on a Chromebook because my MacBook won't stay on in these conferences. And so anyway, all right, I'll say it again, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself because you said you didn't hear me. We just were, the other concern we had is when you put the bills in SIS is that when they get reconciled in SIS, when they get paid or the items returned, it's not reconciled in Destiny. And so then the next year cycles around and they're back to asking the kid for the same thing again. And it's like, no, I paid for it, but oh no, it's in Destiny. It's such a big disaster. But you guys, are on top of that kind of stuff. Some schools aren't, they don't include the media specials or whatever. So that was the problem. That I'm sure that didn't make any sense, but.
Yeah, no, it made sense. I wanted to share with you guys what Tempe created for her students when they come back, and you might be able to adapt the concept to your students. I'm hopeful that the sound will work. It's just so cute. it was just such a cute idea. I thought I would share. I asked her permission first before I shared it. Those Bitmoji scenes are super fun to create. They are easy to create, and they made such a cute video. Obviously, you guys would not make it quite as cutesy because your kids would think you're crazy, but it's a good idea of a way to start, something to put out there, something positive to put out there. Oh, well, yeah, Elizabeth, yes, you totally would. But I just like how positive she was. And it probably didn't take her all that long to create. She made those scenes. If you haven't worked with Spark Video, it is so simple to record audio over those slides. It won't take you very long to create a video like that, as long as you have the script written out. So I just thought I'd put that out there as a way to get your creative juices flowing with your campaign to get those books returned. Any other questions we can address?
Do you guys know if there's a limit on how many students can contribute to a Flipgrid? I'm sure I can Google this, but I was just wondering.
I honestly don't know, but with people putting them out all over the world, I wouldn't think that there's a huge limit or a small limit to it.
I was wondering if it would be a nice way to create like a digital, kind of like a digital yearbook signing for our seniors. So if you sent the link out to your 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and it was, you know, only a 30-second per person thing, they could wish like a, you know, they could put their best wishes for the seniors on a Flipgrid.
I love that.
And then the seniors could have that to view, since they're not going to get to like do yearbook signings or awards nights or anything. But then I was like, oh, some of our schools are big. I wonder what the limit is for participation.
I just did a quick Google search and it says there is no limit on how many students or participants can join a grid.
Okay, cool.
If you're doing a student ID grid, then there's a maximum of 250 students.
What's a student ID grid?
Good question.
Okay.
It looks like if you give them like
and I have a question about that.
Go ahead. I'll put the link to it in there, what it is. It's a long description.
Okay.
With Flipgrid, I think it's a fabulous idea. They're so cool. And I think it's great within maybe the classroom setting or whatever. But as far as permissions, you know, these students are saying things, and I'm not saying that they're going to be inappropriate, but whatever they say, that's posted out there for everybody to see without parent permission. So, you know, is there an issue with doing, say, something like what Elizabeth suggested, which is a fabulous idea? But as far as permissions, how do we know that that student has permission to be out there? You know what I mean?
That's a really good question. You can look up that permission in SIS if you have full school access. That I know.
Okay.
And in terms of monitoring what they're saying, you can set up the grid so that you can view the video before it goes live.
Right. And I'm not worried about that part. It was mainly just so many people are like posting pictures of their whole Google Classroom and they have the kid's name there and the picture. And I'm thinking, you know, some of this is kind of crossing some lines with what we've always been taught about not posting out student information. So with Flipgrid, I thought, you know, even though their name may not be there, their faces and, you know.
Right. And it also doesn't have to be posted in it's not like, so if it's in a Google Classroom that the kids are coming to, it's not just out there on the web.
Right. That's why I've used it with that, and that's fine. But I'm just thinking something like this where you're giving it to all your seniors, you know.
Right. Lisa just said it's her understanding that when you create the Flipgrid, you set it up for students to sign in with their email, not with an ID. So that should work. The other thing is you could put a password on the grid so that only your kids have that password and it's not just out there. So that helps protect some of that, those identity issues.
Right.
But I did see a couple of tweets from higher ups where they're concerned about people posting their whole Google Meet and pictures with names and not protecting the student privacy. It's definitely an issue. You're not alone in that concern. It is a legitimate concern. And I think people are forgetting those things because everything is so different. And they're just going with, well, it's different, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, Elizabeth, it has been an issue for years since everyone jumped into the Twitterverse. I think I was one of the few that used to check all of their students' permissions before I put anything out there on Twitter. And if they didn't have permission, there would be a smiley face in front of their face. That way you could still post it and protect their identity.
But here's the other issue. Unless the account you're posting from is an official school account, you are not protected. So all of these teachers and administrators who are posting from their personal Twitter accounts, it is not protected. If a parent chooses to fight that, the district is not going to have your back. So that's just, and this has been an issue for years. I've discussed this for years with communications and with my principal. All of these Twitter pages, Twitter accounts that are just kind of random that pop up, everybody and their brother, you know, oh, guidance has one now, football has one now, this one has one now, but they never put in the e-support ticket and they never get them officially approved. It's not good. So this is actually a long-standing issue.
Elizabeth, is that the brand ambassador thing? If you put in the e-support ticket, you became like a brand ambassador, or is that something different?
No, that's something different. There's an actual process for having a Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram account officially approved by the school district.
Ah. That I didn't know.
I didn't either.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And
right.
Nobody really enforces it. And so it's funny now everybody's concerned, but this has been an issue for years. Sorry, my dog is mad.
Those coworkers. So, anyone, any other questions, any other issues we can address? Are you guys all good with our end of the year plan? Any suggestions? Do you have things to add to it? Yeah, absolutely. Try not to stress over the things that we can't control. We are all in this together. We are here to support you. You guys support each other. It's going to take a lot of teamwork. We're going to have to work. You guys are going to have to work with your middle school librarians. They're going to be trying to get their books back. The middle school librarians are going to be working with their elementary librarians to get their books back. It's a lot. Yep. And at the end of the day, the stuff was not bought with our personal money. And this is a time of an emergency. And we just have to let some of it go. One thing I didn't cover is that when we do run those inventories in 2021, then we will set all those items to lost. The things that you can't find after you've carefully considered your lost list, then we'll set those items to lost. In April of 2021, we can set all of those items to lost. Books that children haven't brought back from the school year, we'll set those to lost. And then we're just going to ask you to delete those lost lists. We've been taking a look at some of those lost lists, and oh my goodness, some of them go back to the beginning of Destiny. People aren't deleting them. It's not useful at that point, but by doing the inventory after January of 2021, you'll clean up your catalog, you'll make a good snapshot of what is actually in your library. And when you submit your collections to Destiny or to Mackin for analyzation, you'll get a really good analyzation of what's in your physical library then. And you'll have gotten back most everything that you're going to get back. If you get something back after you've run that inventory and deleted the lost, we can always add it back later. So.
Yeah, but just to clarify, and it was in the slides, we're asking you to do that inventory in January of the main sections, your fiction and your nonfiction, and look at the lost and set everything from that inventory to lost and delete your lost list. Yes, but we're asking also that you not set any other material to lost and bill students until April of 2021 from the stuff from this year. That was in the slides.
Right.
You would start setting the things that we think we have lost from this whole situation, the whole first semester, set them to loss. Then you'll have this smaller list and you can let those ride in there for a little while, even though the kid will be billed. If you set the book to lost, if that's what you want, the kid will be billed for the book, but it can just ride in there for like a year. And if they pay in June, it'll come off the loss list and you won't have to re-enter that book.
Right.
So that's why the break in the way we did the slide deck is we want to delete all the old stuff that's been sitting on the loss list forever. And then kind of everything lost currently, recently, not recorded until like April, so that it can just sit there. Because really that's how you should run your loss list. The stuff on there should only be lost for about a year and then you should give it up. Right. So it'll get you to that point if you follow those steps.
So Amy just threw into the chat, what about seniors? She had one senior contact her to pay for a book she knows she lost now. There's no way to really take money now.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. That's an excellent question. But your treasurers are working right now, correct?
Actually, my bookkeeper, I emailed her about it, and she said she set up something in school cash, or cashless schools, whatever, so that the student could go ahead and pay, and we could clear her. So that's what we did. Hope it was okay.
Perfect.
I mean, I don't know why wouldn't it be? Where does school cash end up going? Are you worried about what account it would go into or something? Or?
No, I just wanted to make sure it was okay for us to accept payment from seniors at this time.
Absolutely.
If they're willing, she contacted me. She wants to clear her record. She's now at another high school. I think she's at Atlantic High School now. She contacted me and Ms. Davis about her obligation because she had transferred from Suncoast and she lost one of our books. So these seniors in the next month, these seniors are going to get real adamant, especially those who are conscientious about clearing their obligation. So there's going to need to be a plan for where they put their textbooks and what they do. And our math departments especially are going to be very concerned about getting their calc books in and all those expensive textbooks in.
Exactly.
Because they want to distribute those. I always like to check them out day 1 in August. And I know things are going to be different, but I think we need instructional materials needs to have a proactive plan for making this happen before the seniors check out. Because once they check out, they're done.
I know. Right. And I think what the problem is that the leadership is still making decisions about what are the rules about people coming face to face, like right now. Like in order to return books, that would be in the next couple of weeks. I think they're still trying to figure that part out.
If they can pick up food, though, and bus loops,
right, exactly.
They could drop off books in bus loops,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like I said, I put a hangout out to Nolan. He may be in another meeting. I haven't gotten an answer yet, but we'll get him to answer that today. Because it would behoove them to at least offer that service to seniors to collect stuff.
For sure.
Maybe they were waiting till they decided what graduation was going to look like and when it was going to be. So they just launched that schedule today. Maybe that's the next thing.
Yeah, it might be. But we can certainly ask Nolan and get that information out to you as soon as we have it. But unfortunately, we don't have that information right now.
Well, and I just say that because even though technically I'm not in textbook manager, a lot of us in our schools, we're the textbook developers. We do the work. We don't sit behind the desk. So they may not be as concerned because it doesn't impact them in their day-to-day lives in August, but it does impact us. So we might need to push it to the top of their priority list because it's going to impact us more than the admin, and at least in my school.
Yeah. Right. No, I can see that. But out of curiosity, just how you guys, school cultures work, just for talking purposes, if they set times and said seniors come to your school at X time and whatever, do you think you would get a good response from that? Or have these kids scattered to the four corners of the world? Or, can they get there? On the whole, what would it be like if they did set a schedule? What would the response be from the students?
Our students would, but,
Yeah, and Sarah's saying the Dreyfus kids would, and Christine's said she thinks that they would, because a lot have emailed her about their books. And Deb said theirs would, and Suzette thinks a large chunk of hers would.
So even kids that don't have they don't have their own car to drive, like their parents would get them there, like your bus students and those kind of kids, they'd still be able to respond.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the consensus I'm seeing in the chat.
Good. I just think curious.
I think what would happen is the kids who normally are conscientious and bring them back would do so, and those kids who even don't bring them back in a regular, environment, would still be facing in August, September. So
right.
And I think I saw Deb's comment. I think it was just flashed up. The issue would be, not wanting them to stand around and we would not want them to stand around and congregate and hug each other and not see, because they'll want to. That would be an issue,
right.
That the district wouldn't want to have happen just because they don't want to be responsible for helping someone be sick.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, stay in cars is what they'd have to do. Would
just
be
the
like
same way they do the pickup.
That we like the testing thing at the ball field. We'd have cones and lines, and you guys could wear hazmat stuff and go up to the car window.
As a parent on Sunday, I was in the Riviera Beach post office parking lot distributing senior signs with my gloves and masks to 100 parents who drove through the parking lot at the post office in Riviera Beach to pick up senior signs. So we were not part of the school. We did that on our own, but people stayed in their cars. They just drove up, we highlighted, and they went about their merry way. It was really fast. So if we did something similar through the bus loop, I think it would work. It would work fine.
Yeah. Definitely just have to have a plan for it and make that plan, advertise that plan so people are aware of what it is. But we can talk to Nolan and ask.
Okay, wait, hold the phone, everybody. I have a long Hangout message. Hang on. Let me get it open. It's miles long. My chats are heading. I'm still waiting. Oh, from Nolan, hot off the press. I am still waiting for a response from Diana Fetterman regarding that issue. The problem is the current stay-at-home situation. We can't ask them to leave their homes to accomplish tasks, I guess, because that's going against the public orders. At least my current understanding of the situation. Same issue we're having more or less for dual enrollment books going back to BookSmart. So I guess they're still hashing out the issue is the answer. So, not the most satisfying.
We'll keep you posted. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. As we know more, you'll know more.
Perfect.
All right. Unless anyone has any other questions, I'm going to end the recording now.